that and
Oh,
just constantly plugging
All right.
plugging that there's this conspiracy.
All right. We are recording.
yeah. There's actually one book that I can credit the most that really knocked me out of the whole conspiracy thing. Put both feet on the ground, set me in reality, and that was Carl Sagan's book from 1996. It's called "The Demon Haunted World: Science as a Candle in the Dark." There's chapters in there about UFOs. There's a whole chapter in there called aliens, spoofing. It talks about all these sorts of things that supposedly happen, and he just destroys it one by one. The Dragon in My Garage. One of my favorite chapters called "The Fine Art of Baloney Detection." It actually teaches you the tools of skepticism. It's something we're not born with. Skepticism is a learned skill. Anybody can learn it, but most people don't learn real skepticism. It's healthy to be skeptic. I'm a big fan of being a skeptic. But like as many people have said, is you have to have an open enough mind to welcome new ideas, but not so open that your brains fall out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what I hear with these conspiracy guys. These conspiracy guys, every time I talk to them one-on-one, they don't actually know anything. They've never read a book in their life. They don't know how to analyze evidence. A lot of people, and I don't know about you guys, with all due respect, a lot of people have cell phones, and I think I've talked to Christine about this before. Cell phones are not a replacement for real computer monitors, where you can see in high resolution and zoom in and do all sorts of things with your files. So you got a lot of conspiracy theorists who, like, I didn't know about this Greg guy. I saw him just for the first time today, and he's like lifting up books with a radio host, okay? He's a radio host. His whole idea is to get listeners at any cost. So somebody who is a conspiracy theorist, but he like reads Alex Jones books. Wow.
Yeah.
Alex Jones is not a credible source of any information. The only one thing that he did that I thought was useful was his video from the Bohemian Grove,
Yeah.
But that in and of itself is not, to me, interesting enough to pursue. Wow, it's some, higher level people, genuflecting in the woods, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's strange what goes on there, but there's no actual evidence of some of the rumors of things that go on there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, we are physical beings on a planet in the middle of nowhere. We're 30,000 light years from the center of our galaxy. There's no hint that there's any kind of paranormal going on. People claim it all the time. The thing is that you have to understand that the paranormal has never been proven. Ghosts or goblins or, a lot of this misinformation having to do with CIA and people sneaking in and executing others. And I mean, it happens occasionally, but it's not to the degree that some dudes are going to go to Minnesota and
a little
kill
town
some
in
guy.
Apple Valley.
Take some guy out for a stupid, embarrassing movie he was working on.
Well, I mean, like say with the whole like JFK thing, he was a president, not a little filmmaker who was starting out and with a work of fiction, which David himself said it was a work of fiction, and he said that it was a love story, and he said to people he just had to say New World Order and wallets would open. So that was his target audience to get the big books in to fund things. But then with the conspiracies and everything, people are jumping on, making comparisons to all these other big conspiracies that are more likely to be a conspiracy.
That's the thing about humans. I mean, we are the people that make the world a lot more interesting than it really is. Our brains are very creative. We like to make things up a lot. And that might be good for art and music and poetry and things like that. But you have to distinguish fact from fiction. You have to be able to, it's not an easy thing to do for everybody. There was a woman that really impressed me. I came across her YouTube channel the other day. Not very familiar with her. She lives in Ohio in the United States. Her first video on her YouTube channel is from 2016, and it was called something like "Strange Lights in the Sky" or something like that. And she was like a lot of Americans. They're like, oh man, aliens are coming down," type of thing. I mean, Really, and what impressed me the most is that she really wanted to know what she was looking at. So you know what she did? She went out to the store and she learned and taught herself how to use telescopes and cameras and high quality camera technology. She set it all up in a nice tripod in her backyard, and now she makes videos zooming in on the moon, on a Saturn, all these planets she's zooming into, these celestial bodies, and now she knows exactly what she's looking at. It's awesome. I respect that so much.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
taking the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Taking the time to find out more before jumping straight to one thing or another.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have video everywhere, a lot of these conspiracy guys think that they can fill in the most mysterious stuff. Let's see, like you got video of 90% of the event, but that last 10%, just the craziest stuff happened,
Yeah.
So I want to introduce everybody. Everybody knows me. Everybody knows Louise, but they don't know you. So how did you come along? I mean, I know that I commented on one of your videos and then it just kind of went from there. That's how we found each other.
Yeah, I came across the Crowley case. I'm kind of mildly interested in criminology and crime in general. I download a lot of police reports and body cam videos and surveillance videos and interrogation videos. I mean, 4-hour interrogation videos I download to my hard drive just in case they're ever deleted. I'll have them. And I came across the Crowley case, and being a Minnesotan, I was really interested in it because it's close. It's pretty close to home, and seeing this conspiracy surrounding it. So I did a little bit more research, and I found I already knew that conspiracy theorists are mostly bullcrap. And then I came across your video, which was sober. The one sober damn video on the case that I found. You were already fighting conspiracy theorists off, and I was impressed by that because a lot of people don't tend to do that. A lot of people are really interested in mystery, like I said earlier, and you were like a sober video, so that was really refreshing. That's how I came across you, and there is not a lot of conspiracy around the whole case compared to some of the bigger ones, but it seems to be ramping up a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and I think a lot of it is because the other group, Greg's group, is joining in with other conspiracy groups that are a little bit bigger than what theirs was, with more viewers. And so more people are looking at the case, but they're not getting the full picture. They're only getting the nitpicked bits and pieces of what Greg and them have thrown out there.
So Judy, I don't know much about her. I just learned about her from your guys' material that you put up. And then I listened to her 911 call. It was pretty chilling. I've listened to a lot of 911 calls. But the way she described it kind of, I don't know, it would suck to be someone like that. She sounded, like she threw up at the last second. You know what I mean? And I felt bad for her.
In your honest opinion, do you hear any conspiracy in that call at all? Like she was throwing them a bone, saying it was a murder-suicide? Like,
no, she sounds sincere. She sounds like a sincere, concerned neighbor that actually saw something. She saw the bodies, and the dog attacked the window apparently. And it's like that's what anybody would do. Absolutely. There's nothing different about that 911 call than you hear about any other sincere 911 call.
Yeah, definitely.
Not everybody is not everybody's got their eyes shifting left and right and up to no good. Jesus.
Exactly. The irony is that there's this rumor that is constantly spread that when Judy made a 911 call, it was scripted. She led the investigators to the conclusion. She was sowing the seeds by saying there's a murder or a suicide. Well, there's nothing else it could be when you've got 3 people with gunshot wounds to the head in the house. It's not, the house isn't on fire or anything.
Look, this after the fact super analyzing, it really bugs me, because like you can just zoom in all day and waste your entire life about a few lines of somebody's initial shocked comments on a 911 call. Big wow. It's what happens to the human body when you're kind of shocked and stunned. You don't always even know what you're saying a lot of the times.
Exactly. I mean, her and her husband have been thrown to the wolves because her husband had said that at first he thought they were mannequins. It's a big common
That's
thing.
the most cockamamie thing I've heard. Leave these people. These guys are sincere. They sound sincere to me. Of all people, compared to these other shifty-eyed Greg people, these conspiracy theorists who are afraid to get in a voice chat with me, those guys are the shady ones.
Yeah, I mean, Greg blocks anyone who has a different opinion or tries to sort of suggest, say, mental health issues. Then it's, well, the only person that's got mental health issues is you, block.
No,
and then
well,
he's saying that he's open for a discussion with different opinions.
No, he's one of the most closed people I've ever seen, because when somebody challenges you to an interview and you immediately want to know their name on the internet, that's already a violation, because one of the principles of the internet is anonymity. You should be able to communicate in voice chat like I have since 1997, using voice chat, starting with the program called iParty, moving on to Battlecom, Roger Wilco, Skype, Mumble, Ventrilo, Discord, all these ways to communicate in voice chat. I've been doing it since 1997, and it's always been anonymous and free. And this guy's instantly wanting my full name. That's pretty alarming. If I had given him my real name, that's not going to get him any closer to taking the call. He's just, as many conspiracy theorists do, just wasting time. They're time vampires.
Well, he thinks that you're, on this team of, the fact and fiction group, when you've just kind of came along by seeing different videos and your thoughts on conspiracy, like, you're not affiliated with one group or the other. And I think his initial thought is, oh, well, he's part of the fact and fiction group, and so I'm not going to even entertain any ideas, because they know that we've proved them wrong in every aspect of this case.
Yeah.
So
no, I really
that they can, to silence anybody from, like, who has our perspective that actually this is just a tragedy and David committed the crimes, is silenced.
See, you can tell when somebody's actually looking for truth or if they have an agenda. Someone like me, I will talk to anybody to find the answers. It doesn't have to be somebody who agrees with me. In fact, like I said, I don't prefer echo chambers. I generally prefer to talk to people who vehemently disagree with me. That's a good way to learn and to look at other perspectives. Like I said, these guys aren't interested in learning anything. These guys don't even have the foundation of learning down yet. That's why I wanted to talk to him. I didn't necessarily want to talk to him exclusively about this case, but about skepticism and analyzing information in general, and asking them whether or not they actually have 2 ounces worth of brains, separate eyebrows. And you can tell that really quick in voice. You can't really tell that in text. It's so easy to feign intelligence when you got that time between sentences and paragraphs. I mean, these are YouTube comments I'm talking to this guy on. And YouTube is one of the most censored places on the internet right now. I can't even give anyone my own Discord information. It auto deletes it. It's pretty egregious. So you can't even have a real, genuine, sincere conversation with anybody in YouTube comments. It's really bad right now. So what's nice about things like Discord and Zoom and things like that, you can post links, you can communicate, you can show your screen, you can share your screen, show them things they've never seen before, blow their minds while you're educating them about skepticism at the same time. Like, it's just an onslaught of education that serotonin, that brain of theirs, just starts flowing like it's never flown before. And you can see their eyes deglaze in real time. It's amazing. It's amazing seeing people think they know all the answers, and then they get schooled by a guy like me who comes out of left field. They didn't expect it at all. I roll them 6 ways to sunset, and their eyes are literally deglazed. Their shirt is tucked in, and their ties adjusted. It's
between their legs.
Yeah, this is a constant issue that is, it's not really fair to people who do have a genuine interest in the case. We've always said, we're not trying to convince people to think exactly our way, but we work on facts and evidence.
Right. I admire that. I admire that because although I'm a big fan of free speech, I really do feel that people should be able to say what they want, as crazy as it might sound. However, I really value good information, though. It's like misinformation is bad, but I don't want to stop anybody from doing it. It's not illegal or anything. But me personally, before I talk about any subject, I try to know a little bit about it. I don't really like making things up. It seems like humans don't generally want to do that anyway. It seems like they mean well, but it's just that it seems there's always some slant. Like with these guys, it looks like they're all trying to sell books, or I don't know what they're trying to make money in some way. That's what they seem like the word huckster to me. If you know what that is, a huckster or a charlatan, or
charlatan, definitely.
Snake oil,
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So right now,
thrown at them a few times.
Right. This is a subject I've deeply studied. James Randi, head of the James Randi Educational Foundation, he has been offering $1 million for several years now to anybody who can prove the existence of paranormal. Nobody's been able to pass his preliminary tests yet because the paranormal doesn't exist. That's not a conclusive, but there's people out there that say that they can go for days and days without eating. And they take his challenge, as James Randi, they take his challenge, and they're found sneaking out in the middle of the night to Burger King. They're all full of crap.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, they're just full of crap. And like I said, we're physical beings where there's no evidence of the paranormal. There could come out evidence tomorrow or something, and I'd accept it because I'm not a nutcase. But as of right now, November 2021, whatever, it's 23rd today, 2021, there's no evidence of that kind of stuff. So like, I'm fine with speculation, but you have to distinguish speculation from fact. And so when people are genuinely out there trying to find information on this case, they have to sift through and wade through the bullcrap. And that really is a waste of time for these poor people.
Well, this is it. I mean, a prime example is that is an ongoing back and forth is the definition. So it's already defined of exceptionally cleared, which is what the case was ruled. And you can find the definition on the internet. It's not something that we've just like cooked up ourselves. And it's basically, there's a certain criteria that if a crime falls under, like the perpetrator or who the police believe they have enough evidence to prove is the perpetrator, they can't arrest them, they can't do anything. So it's ruled exceptionally cleared. But according to that group, it's word spaghetti by the police.
Yeah,
and they changed their whole definition.
I posted the video of the Brian Laundrie thing and how they ruled it exceptionally cleared because there's nobody to charge. He's dead. And so the case is going to be exceptionally cleared, just like the Crowley case, because your perpetrator is dead. You can't put him on trial for murder. You can't put him on trial for anything because he's no longer alive. And that's exceptionally cleared. But they want to say that, that Apple Valley made this up.
And, because he's not going to have a trial, he's always innocent. It's like,
here's the thing I've noticed about these conspiracy theorist guys, though. They attribute cleverness to humans that has never existed in the history of our species, ever. The way that they're explaining how they covered certain things up and how they thought so far ahead of time before they committed their crime, and it's pure fantasy land. I mean, humans, we're clever. We've been to the moon, and we have all sorts of awesome technologies, but ultimately, though, if you really look at it, we still are in the infancy of our species. Our species is less than 200,000 years old. We still are kind of waking up to our circumstances in this universe. And these guys think with a straight face that we're so clever that we're going to be able to get away with this crap and just outsmart dozens and dozens of, FBI agents. Some of these people that have been in the investigating for several years, decades, and they think they can outsmart them. Criminals are generally stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
who's the mysterious criminal for? Do they have anybody? Have they pointed anybody out? Because if they did, they made
a massive list. They had a massive list.
Blamed everybody.
These guys, they're almost dangerous.
Yeah, instead of ruling, narrowing things down and crossing people out and, ruling people out.
They just got a big net.
They just add to it and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh my God.
For Judy, when her report interview came out, it said by her name, RESD, for resident. But that group said it stood for something like residential electronic surveillance. Something.
No, I know what it stands for. Resident Evil for the Sony PlayStation. Come on, man. How much bullcrap can you come up with? Look, like, these guys are kind of dangerous because they could serve on a jury sometime and just roll some innocent guy, you know, because they just don't know how to analyze anything.
That's the frustrating thing, you know, because it's the damage that they've done to people's reputations, the hurt that they've caused, the families they've accused, pretty much every single family member, friend, associate, anybody who walked past, like the Crowleys in the street, has pretty much been accused. They've done videos about them, you know, with nothing to back anything up.
I want to say one thing about Judy. I listened to Greg's quote interview or debate, because he put verses in the title, as it's like a debate against this elderly lady. It's like he's gonna go take out the elderly lady in voice chat because, well, wow, she's so suspicious. It really is a slap in the face. But I felt bad because, like, I listened to her it took, I don't know, not even a minute to understand that she's sincere and genuine, and that she's not shifty and shady and underhanded. And, you know, she sounds like a genuine woman. It didn't take me long at all. And if you can't detect the intentions of other humans aren't for you, man. These guys are almost sociopaths where they can't even tell if someone's being sincere or not. That's a big red flag to me.
Well, they tried to debate David's father, like, right after this happened.
They challenged everyone to debate.
Yeah.
But
I'll debate you, and you can show me the evidence.
Oh my God! What do they want to see the body? Have those pictures been released?
They've managed to get hold of a couple, and they've exploited it to the full. You know, so that they can just. They've got no experience or anything with any. They don't research. They just make it all up for their.
You know, here's the thing. I don't think any of these guys actually know anybody in the military. It seems like they're really pandering that, you know, and clamoring to the fact that the guy was in the military. That doesn't necessarily mean he deserves a lot of accolades. I mean, I like our military and everything, but the military, with all due respect, the individuals in the military, they're not known for being, you know, brain surgeons. They're not known for being Isaac Newtons or you know, Einsteins or anything like that. I've talked to a lot of them, and they're good guys. They're tough guys. But, you know, when they've seen combat, and I don't know if David has seen combat, but it, you know, being in the military can mess you up a little bit. And I don't know if he was messed up, but I don't know if he had the 1,000-yard stare. Really? Yeah. So
well, David even talked about in his day one journal about him self-medicating PTSD, and the group over there, they just disregard what David said. Like, his own words are invalidated, even though he said it. You know,
mental health to me is one of the most valuable things. I read a book about mental health by Dr. V.S. Ramachandran. He wrote a book called Phantoms in the Brain. It's a book about real patients who have suffered, you know, lesions in the brain, damage in the brain, and what happens to them. And it's very kind of creepy, and it makes me want to be very careful about what I do. And one of the things that he talked about is something called the Cotard delusion. These are people, they're real people. They walk around thinking that they're dead. And what's crazy is that you sit them down and you talk to them and you ask them, do dead people bleed? And no, they're intelligent. They understand that dead people don't bleed. You poke them with a needle, they start bleeding. And here's the weird thing. Instead of saying, oh, I guess I'm alive, they say, oh, I guess the dead do bleed after all. Because they're highly resistant to conflicting evidence. You know, that's delusional. That's bad. That's not mentally healthy. That's delusion. Yeah. And these people, I mean, delusion's a pretty common thing. And these guys sound delusional to me. And I think that's why they're scared shitless to get in voice chat with someone like me.
Well, I think the thing is they have their theories and everything, and then they pass these theories on to people who have never read the case, have never looked at an ounce of the evidence, and so they just believe what they're thrown. And they're believing these delusional people, and then, you know, they don't want to look at the evidence after that because they've already looked at it. You know, Greg pimping his book over and over again that has a ton of misinformation in it. Yeah. And it just goes from there and explodes.
I will say on the other side, though, as bad as misinformation is, and there's a crap load, as we all know, on the internet, I really still strongly believe that people should either be taught or teach themselves critical thinking. Because if you can't distinguish fact from fiction yourself, then I think you're part of the problem too. Because I think you have to be able to discern that difference. Because the best information is not ever just going to drop right on your lap. It almost never happens in life. That's why you have to have multiple sources from different news stories and things, because they do add biases and things, and you got to be able to see through that stuff. And that's on you, not really on the news agency necessarily. Nobody can really ever get it perfect. It's very hard to do. There's almost nobody I can really think of in life that I trust ultimately. You know what I mean? Because humans make mistakes, we get things wrong, and you know what I'm saying? So we add our own biases to things. So I really do think it's up to the individual to read a book like that Demon Haunted World book that I mentioned. It does give you the tools of skepticism and critical thinking, where you're able to decipher whether or not that's actually possible, you know, whatever the claim may be.
Well, say, for example, in our group, we'll, like the Exceptional Clear, we'll talk about it, and then we'll post links, and we'll tell people, do your own research. You know, look for yourself. Don't just take our word for it.
Yeah.
On pretty much everything. You know, I mean, they've even said that, you're going to laugh at this. We got a picture that had the gun on the floor. Now, and it really is as pathetic as this, because they didn't get that picture originally. We made that picture up, and we made that gun out of hair.
Oh, what, they photoshopped it?
we apparently.
Oh, you did?
Well, apparently, Even though we even contacted Springfield Armory, who were the makers of the gun that David Over killed himself, and sent the pictures to them, and they wrote back and said, that's a Springfield XD40 with a Hogue grip on it, and there's something with the safety grip that's been.
So they identified it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have guns right in front of me right now. I own a few. And like I said, I look through all of his. See, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with that Greg guy, if he were to get in voice chat. One of the many things is that, I mean, I don't know anything about David. Obviously, I didn't know him. But scrolling through his pictures, now I'm a little bit of a different guy. I kind of have high standards, I guess. So maybe it's my issue. But I scrolled through, and I looked at his music tastes. I looked at what he had in his house. And I looked at his taste in hard drives and technology and laptops and things like that, and I wasn't impressed at all. I mean, even the band Muse, which he has a big poster of in his basement. I mean, for me, I think they're okay. They're like a popular, you know, alt rock radio station band. You know, nothing real. Like I didn't see any Beethoven. I didn't see any. I don't know. I didn't see any Cocteau Twins or anything like that. I didn't see any real, genuine art to me. I didn't see any books that were pro-science. I saw a lot of, you know, I forgot what books they were, but I wasn't impressed by them either. I think they were all fiction books. That's fine. It's fine to be in fiction and everything, but I didn't see a guy who valued reality either, though, you know? So I've kind of noticed that people who are into astronomy and biology and like the real sciences and things, they seem to value life a lot more than your average guy who listens to radio music. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that makes him a bad guy necessarily. To me, he looked like he could just easily get bummed out and depressed about things and flip out. You know, I didn't see any solid ground there. He was doing drugs too, and I'm not a fan of drugs, you know, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he had any kind of permit to be able to get that, or license or whatever, or prescription. I don't know if that was illegal drugs, but I don't know. I think that's pretty stupid to do drugs, you know?
Yeah.
And that can mess with your ability to make decisions.
Well, if you have PTSD and if you're doing shrooms and drinking absinthe for days to stay up and write a script on a video, I mean, something's bound to happen.
Oh, he was doing more than marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, and he openly talked about that as well in the journal and on his Facebook page. So, you know,
I heard one of these cronies of this Greg guy, man. Oh God, I facepalmed so hard that my hand no clipped through my forehead when he said, "Oh, the president's outside. They were out there for 3 weeks, and you know they weren't deteriorated at all. They were still in the same place." And I'm thinking, what does he think, that this is some sort of perishable banana in hot weather? It's a freaking box in the snow, dude.
We just talked about that yesterday and pointed out that one of the paper on one of them was like really withered and like the tape had fallen off of it. So
Yeah. The thing that I've noticed about all these, any kind of case involving crime or anything, there's always a natural explanation for things. There's never a supernatural explanation. I mean, crime scene investigators are smart people. They know what to look for. They know what they're looking at. They see the same thing over and over again. They see patterns. Could it be faked by a really clever assassin? Maybe, but not every single detail perfectly.
Well, this is the thing, because when the crime scene investigators were in the house, they did miss a bullet hole in the ceiling. And so that is like the catnip for that group. But that's forgetting that there's 3 dead bodies on the floor that have been there for quite some time. There's blood, there's decomp, evidence is on the floor, there's dog poop on the floor. They don't want to contaminate that scene any more than it has been by the dog. So they're paying more attention to what's on the floor than what's in the ceiling. And then, of course, their whole theory is that one of the friends got the gun, which was in the forensic lockup at the police station, got the gun, went back to the house, fired a bullet that had David's DNA on, and then snuck it back into the police
That
department.
is not even possible, dude.
Yeah,
tell me about God, it hurts. It hurts.
It does.
These guys need a checkup from the neck up.
Definitely, but they all believe it. That's the scary thing, is that they all seem to think that this is like actually possible.
Oh God, I want to talk to them. I mean, these guys, they'll just believe anything. You could, if you're quick-witted, I bet you could sell these guys oceanfront property in Kansas. Kansas is landlocked, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, they're so dumb. Jesus. I want to talk to them because I just know that I'm going to get some, I don't necessarily want to publicly humiliate them, because I know that humans don't like to be publicly humiliated. No. Most of my conversations aren't recorded. Most of my conversations that I have with people over the years aren't done to embarrass them necessarily. I will generally make a video about someone only when they say really egregious things and they refuse to back it up in voice. That's when I generally just have to, I feel like I have to destroy them publicly, because I'm not going to let you get away with spreading misinformation about things that I give a crap about.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where we've sort of started from, because I used to be in that group years ago when they discovered the Crowleys. And whilst the case was sort of ongoing, there was no information other than it was suspicious deaths. And then as time went by, I was seeing there was no critical thinking. It was literally jump to the conspiracy and start going down that route. Yeah. And I didn't like it. And the amount of absolute jargon, and the thing is it's offensive jargon, it's hurtful jargon. They used to accuse Kamel's family of honor killings and all this kind of stuff. And I've defended them numerous times, and then Kamel's sister reached out to me because I was basically pretty much the only person that would stand up and go, pack it in. You can't say this stuff with no evidence. It's damaging. They've lost their daughter, their granddaughter, their son-in-law. It's a sticky situation.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I completely agree, but here's the thing. This isn't the first time this has happened. I mean, humans have said this kind of crap about Hitler when he died. After they said they saw him on a submarine, he was in a sandwich shop over here, and I swear to God, like, all these conspiracies came up when Hitler died. You don't really hear much about it anymore. It's been long enough, right? And a similar thing happened. I don't know if you ever heard. I don't remember. I think this was the early 2000s, maybe late 90s. A guy named Gary DeVore. You heard of that name before?
Yes, I got that book.
Oh, really? So you know about that?
The writer with no hands.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff happens all the time. Things that just like, what happened to this guy? Does Christina? Do you know that story? You heard of it?
No.
Gary DeVore? No, it's very interesting. It's kind of similar in a way, don't you think? He was I think he was a writer writing a script for a movie or something, right? Yeah. And he was like, I forget what city he was in. It was in California, but he called his wife on the phone. At that time, they didn't have cell phones. And he was like, I'm driving, I'll be there in about 8 hours or whatever, and I'll see you then. Okay, all right, I'll see you for 8 hours from now, whatever. I'm driving home. Hangs up the phone, wife never sees him again. And, immediately out of the gate, it's like, oh, he was abducted by UFOs, or the government got him because he was writing a really controversial script having to do with whatever. And all the conspiracies came out for several years, or maybe several months at least. I don't remember how long it was. And so the great thing that happened is that sleuths, kind of like you guys and people that are like you, there's a lot of web sleuths out there these days trying to help solve crimes and things like that, found out where the guy called from and traced back about where he would be when he made the call versus what path he would have taken, And sure enough, they're driving down the road and they see part of a chain link fence that's kind of broken. So they go and look down there, and at the California Aqueduct, they look over the edge and they see the top of a car submerged in the water. And so what had happened is that he fell asleep while he was driving. He went through the chain link fence and down to the California Aqueduct and died. They took his body out, did dental records and all that stuff. It was his body. So it wasn't alien. Up until that point, though, aliens abducted him, or the government got him up until that point. And so, like I said, there are natural explanations for these things. And, it's only because we don't have cameras everywhere 24/7 yet that we still got these guys. When that happens, if that ever happens on our planet, where we got cameras everywhere covering every square inch, where we can answer for everything, I bet these guys will kind of start disappearing, or when it doesn't become as profitable as it might be.
I don't know. I think they would find a way to make something odd with that.
So you're not
controlling the cameras is in on it. They got paid off. They wiped that bit. They
replaced it.
So you're saying I'm
controlling the camera.
I'm way too optimistic and you're way too cynical about humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
So what is your take on the Masons, the Masonic people? Do you believe that there's some conspiracy there, or what?
No, I wouldn't say conspiracy. It's like I said, we're humans on the planet of middle of nowhere, and people are gonna do their own ritualistic stuff. They're gonna have their own little tribalistic groups. They're gonna have nepotism. They're gonna hire friends and families. They're gonna keep their friends and family close and keep distant people distant. It's just human nature, what we do.
Well, the reason I say that is because I grew up in a Masonic family. My grandfather was 33rd degree when he died. My dad, my uncles, my grandma was Eastern Star. I was in Job's Daughters. We were a very tight-knit Masonic family. Mm-hmm. And never once had I ever seen anything satanic or devilish, or in fact, everything was done in front of an open Bible. And, we had charities and mission work, and everything was a giving thing, a brotherhood, it was just a very tight-knit group of people. And
so
it's
I mean, there are going to be groups like that. There are going to be a lot of questions about things that people don't know anything about. And there's, it's I don't know, I see all this crap, and when Scientology, for example, you guys know anything about that?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, so Scientology was pretty damn secretive for a long time, and I think the FBI raided them in the 70s, and it got out the whole story about it, all the secret information that they had. It was leaked, and it got out there, and people knew what Xenu was. That's kind of like when you reach OT7, OT8, and all these higher levels that you got to pay thousands of dollars for to get to. The whole thing was just a scam, really. You pay all this money to open a book and read some stupid story, and that information got leaked. That's the thing about humans. That is the optimistic thing. You guys, cynical people can agree on, is that humans talk. They're pretty good at leaking information. It's pretty hard. They said it before. The only way to keep a secret between two people is if one of them's dead, right?
Yeah.
Because people open their mouths and they talk, and things get out, things get leaked, and no matter what you do, it's really hard to keep real secrets, and no matter what. So this information got leaked.
Only cynical regards how the other group's gone, but that's because we've seen it for 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They've said for 7 years that, Apple Valley covered this up, BCA covered this up, the medical examiners, like somebody would have opened their mouth within 7 years.
Yeah. Yep.
If there was a cover up, somebody would have said something.
Yeah. And the way my mind works and everything I've learned, all the books I've read on every topic, I'm the type of guy, and I think it's healthy, I don't look at anything at 100%. I mean, I know to a high degree of certainty that the earth is round. I know to a high degree of certainty that evolution is true. I know to a high degree of certainty that vaccines work, that the Holocaust happened. Can I be disproven tomorrow? Yeah, but it would take a hell of a lot of evidence. It's not like I'll change my mind overnight necessarily, but I do welcome new evidence, as conflicting evidence, because we do learn new things all the time. Our ideas of things do get changed. So I don't stick 100% to anything. I am, like I said, open-minded enough to welcome new ideas. But I do know that there are some things that are pretty damn substantiated, such as the things I mentioned.
Well, we've always said, if there was evidence, not opinion, evidence that would support David being innocent, we would get behind it.
That's the thing. I think it seems like it's more to do with money for these guys, or if it's not about money, which it looks like it is, then it's just like they like the earth to seem a lot more interesting than it really is. It's a rock going around a damn star.
I think it's just a bunch of people craving attention, to be honest. I mean, whether
maybe.
It's not about money, I think it's just they want to be a part of something so bad. They all seem like they're really lonely people and don't have anything going for themselves.
If they need mysteries, man, all they got to do is open some books about astronomy. There's still a crap load of real, actual mystery out there. That's really intriguing. We've got the top of your head is older than the bottom of your feet because of time dilation. The further away you are from the Earth, the slower time or the faster time goes. You go over, stand by the pyramids of Egypt, and your body literally ages more slowly.
Oh, well, hell, I'm moving.
I'm just saying, that's an actual scientific fact. That's not some conjecture. I mean, that kind of crap to me is amazing, man. I mean, we literally won the lottery for existing. If our parents had sex 1 minute later, we wouldn't be here. We literally won the lottery for existing. And I value that greatly. You go to Children's Hospital, there are kids with hearts on the outsides of their chest and organs that don't work. And, I feel bad for people who are, born with like that. And I've got all my working digits, my brain works, and I'm not going to throw that away by genuflecting in front of an Elvis statue thinking he's still alive. Jesus. I want to live in reality. I want the truth, even if the truth doesn't make me happy. I'll give you an example. I'll give you one example on this. So the furthest object that humans can see with the naked eye is in the Andromeda Galaxy. You can make it out at the end of the year. You can probably look, if you go outside tonight, you might be able to see it. It shows up as a faint cloud deep in the sky. It's called M31, the Andromeda Galaxy, and it's coming at us right now at 75 miles per second. It's going to collide with our galaxy. I don't like it, but I accept it because it's freaking true.
Yeah.
I think that's the healthiest way to look at it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that, so I'm gonna have to look that up and see.
Yep. Andromeda's our sister galaxy, or one that's close to us. It's about 2 million light years away. Yeah. So it'll take a while before it's here, but it's inevitable. Gravity is going to pull us together, period. It happens a lot. So again, I don't like that our sun is half dead, and it is eventually going to, blow up. Yeah. But I accept it because it's real.
Yeah.
And these guys are not, as you can tell by their unwillingness to actually debate and have dialogue and discord with people who don't agree with them, someone like me, well, you could tell that they're not interested in finding truth. They're not interested in learning anything. They think they know it all already. They don't need me.
Definitely. You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Is that they do think that they know it all. They are the oracles.
It's not something I envy. I don't envy people who think they know it all. I definitely don't know it all. I still have a shitload I can learn about all sorts of things. That's why I do like engaging people and listening to what they have to say and learning about
You're never going to learn every single thing that there is to learn whilst you're here on Earth.
Right. Yeah. So, one thing I really appreciate is that when stuff gets released, this is a similar topic here. I think that, like, the crime scene photos, the 911 calls and stuff, I think that stuff should be available to the public, and not many people, not everybody agrees, but that's kind of the way the Freedom of Information Act works in the US. Is a lot of that stuff, to me, someone that just kind of like looks at this stuff, I find it really fascinating the depravity humans will go to end another life. It's like bonobos, which is like a cousin of the chimps, a cousin to us. There's not one single documented case of one bonobo killing another bonobo. They're more civil than we are as humans. It's crazy. Chimps, on the other hand, chimps do kill each other, but bonobos don't. And I wish, that's why I kind of like studying it. It's the whole human brain, people going crazy and taking another life of another human, just out of rage. So I like studying this stuff. And sometimes looking at the crime scene photos can give you a better picture than what the news will give you. News with their
they're all out there. The crime scene photos and stuff, they're out there. There is stuff that was not put out because the family, they don't want it put out. And I think they have that right as far as private information. Or because David had such a large conspiracy group, the police also have a duty to keep the public safe because they could commit, copycat crimes because we had it happen with Kurt Cobain and Chester Bennington and all of that. So, I mean, I get that, we have the freedom to have all this information out there, but I also think that, the family has a right to, the family has a right to their private life as well.
Yeah. So that kind of surprised me because I thought a lot of this stuff, if a judge doesn't block it, it seems like a lot of this material can be released. And I didn't know that 911 call was relatively new. Did she just get her hands on it, or has she always had it?
2 years.
It's been on there for 2 years.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't hear.
They've made out that it's not available because Judy had to submit her own thing and put in a request for it and sign a waiver because she's in the call.
So I'm not trying to butt heads with you, but I heard you tell Judy that it's her audio and that she owns it and she can copyright strike it. Like I said, being on the internet so long, hearing things like that bugs me a little bit. I know you wouldn't understand it from my perspective, but I look at the internet as the Wild West, a place where people go online, they can pirate things, they can download free books, free music, movies. It's like Christmas every day. That's how I personally look at it, because that's how it's always been for me. I'm a big pirate, I guess you could say. I'm cheap. So I like to pirate things before I buy them. If it's good enough to buy, I'll give my money, but it's pretty rare that I do that, just because a lot of the stuff you buy is you're ripped off all the time. So I look at the internet as sharing, as a place to share stuff that you couldn't share before, because of all we had before was television. And if you don't know this, television is to this day still FCC regulated. That means you can't say words like shit, things like that. And one of the great things about the internet is you can say that word, and you can share blood, guts, teeth, and eyeballs and uncensored material that you've never been able to see on TV before. And I thought it was a great place to share that material. It sounds grotesque. That's not what I'm, that's not why I get online, but that's one of the cool things, is that you can actually see the world for what it really is and humans for what they really are.
Well,
and,
Judy put her call up on her channel 2 years ago. She got it because they had the Freedom of Information Act and the law is that you can get a transcribed copy of that call, but you can't actually obtain that call. Only the person involved in that call can get that. So Judy got it because she was people were putting words into her mouth and spinning it and saying how she was, going over it with a fine tooth comb. So she got it. She put it on her Deep State Granny channel. The other group have denied all knowledge of it. When links have been posted to that video on her channel, they've removed them and everything, said there's only a transcribe out there. And then somebody has obviously, I think it's probably Crip Rick. Somebody where it wasn't on in their domain, it had come up about Judy's 911 call. And so they couldn't then hide the fact that the 911 call's out there. So then they went and they nabbed it off Judy's channel and have made out it's a new thing and that they've only just got it.
Yeah.
That it was an unreleased 911 call, and they're putting their, skepticism and criticism and all kinds of stuff, added narrative instead of putting the actual, the call out there and saying, hey, Judy's had this out for 2 years. They're saying, oh, well, we just got this. It was unreleased. And
I will agree that I personally I prefer raw files of everything, raw PDFs, raw videos, raw audio. I don't like when people put in watermarks, put in their own, like a lot of YouTubers do that crap. If it's like a 30-second 911 call or 911 call, they'll stretch it out to like 15, 20 minutes, and because they want that ad revenue, and they'll put in a lot of times they'll, put other sound effects over it so you can't really hear it. And I just hate that kind of stuff. So I personally like the raw stuff. I don't mind if people critique things, necessarily. I mean, I guess that's one of the things we do as humans, but just seeing these guys come to the wrong conclusion every time, I just feel like these guys got sloped foreheads and their eyes are too close together.
There's definitely something not right with them.
Just walking around troglodytes. I mean, that's why have you guys ever actually talked to them directly? I think Christina has, right?
I've spoken to them because I was in there. I used to actually they trusted me to admin, and then of course me and my logical sense is like, right, that's bullying, not having that. Like real bullying on people, like picking on people who are dyslexic, clearly dyslexic, and just attacking them to try and discredit them, and accusing the family of stuff. It's like, you can't, don't go around accusing them while the case is still active. You haven't got any evidence. It just,
So, where did you talk to these guys at? Do they use Zoom too? Do they use something else?
Some of them use Zoom. Some of them use free conference call. Sometimes it would be on Messenger when I was friends with them.
Well, I was on a live call with Southern Truth, if that's what you want to call it. He just kind of talked over me and and then decided to call me the R word, which I don't like using, and then sent people over to my channel for me to suck their thing, if that's what they wanted to do. That was his. Yeah,
that's pretty infantile when you don't have any argument.
Oh, exactly. He didn't. He wanted to go on and on about this 20 minutes and 16 seconds in a call because his Twitch got banned for 30 days and whining about it, and then come forward.
I almost feel like I have to talk to these guys and just train them from the ground up about how the damn internet works, because looking at these guys, it seems like they're just fumbling, stuttering, muttering guys that have no idea what they're doing. It's like I want to ask them, how are they actually analyzing any of this stuff? It's like I see them fumbling over what I seem to think of as pretty simple stuff. A lot of times their audio's all messed up, and like these guys are really stumbling over things. And it's like they're not ready for prime time.
Have you seen Catherine Michelle?
No, it doesn't ring a bell. No.
That was the video that you commented on.
She will probably, I wouldn't be surprised if she would come on a call with you, because she always likes to be right.
Is she the one that's always sitting by herself in her kitchen?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I think I have seen her. You do make a lot of videos about her, I think.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who comes out with the most convoluted lies. She has always got a friend who happens to be a so-called expert, but this friend never makes an appearance anywhere.
This one time at band camp?
Yes, that's what we talk about. She is
American Pie.
And this one time I had my laptop open and my friend came around and we were just chit-chatting, and they happened to be a deputy coroner, and they said, well, I could tell you something. That person was murdered. And I was like, what do you mean they were murdered? Well, that's multiple blunt force trauma there. And if you put it through one of your filters, I think I can tell you what they were hit with and how many times they were hit.
Yeah.
And then she says, so you've heard it for yourself, what the coroner said. It's like, no,
I saw her talking about the skull was perfectly cut out, so somebody used some sort of an edged weapon to That's not how the skull works, weirdo. No, it doesn't work like that.
That was the inside of the skull.
Even I know that. Yeah, you have to have the most insane sharp. I mean, you have to have an amazing tool to be able to cut a skull open perfectly. It's not, you can't use an edged weapon that you carry around in your pocket, lady.
Exactly. Well, because that's on the floor, that's what they think. They think it's physically possible for a human to pull off another person's arm.
No, they can. Jax from Mortal Kombat 2. I remember that game.
It's honest to God. They say that somebody put their foot on that little girl's ribs and pulled her arm off. It's not physically I swear to possible.
God, like if somebody would say that as I'm talking to him in voice chat, I would post a picture of a character named Jax from Mortal Kombat 2. That's what he did. His fatality in that game was to pull their arms off. And I just I would just, that's how you discredit people. That's why I wish they would use Discord instead of Zoom or instead of whatever they use. Discord is awesome because you can post screenshots right there while you're talking and look at the picture as you're talking to them. You could totally just embarrass the crap out of them doing little shenanigans like that. Like you can't take people seriously when they say things like that.
Exactly.
And you show them a picture from an old 90s video game that did exactly what they're talking about, but this guy's got metal like power arms. So it's, everybody knows that that's not even possible without some sort of mechanical advantage.
Exactly. It's like, well, all right then. So when it was like the WWE were doing their blooming major wrestling matches, how many
anything's possible.
Their arms ripped off then?
The whole world, our lives are just movies. We can do anything we want. If we think about it hard enough, maybe we could fly.
You could dislocate an arm, and you could like fracture an arm, but you can't like literally rip the thing off.
Just a clean cut
and they took it for a trophy as well, by the way. They took it for a trophy.
I didn't know it was that bad. You guys are making me glad that deadbolts were invented for doors.
It trust me. There's so many crazy stories. Like the inside of the skull, they claim it's the outside and it's multiple blunt force trauma. But there's pictures of it showing that it was the inside and it was the meninges and the vessels.
I want to talk to them so badly. How can you guys blow it so badly? You guys you guys would make the worst investigators ever. You couldn't get a single guy convicted if you were to investigate any crime scene. You'd mess it all up. You'd get everything wrong. Yeah, there was monkeys here and there was a trapeze artist over here doing this. What the hell are you talking about? You got to stop, smoking your breakfast, ladies. Like that's what I'd be saying to these people. I want to talk to them.
They block you as soon as you say it. As soon as you say anything, they block you. We've got like paramedics in our group and medical people.
Yeah.
And they've got connections and things and stuff. And even they said, but Catherine, this is another thing. See, now I'm getting on my soapbox. She was an EMT for a bit. She thinks that outdoes a paramedic. Then when you ask her for her qualifications, she shows certificates of her volunteering for the Red Cross.
The Red Cross is a goddamn joke.
That's her, I've showed you my certificates. All right, then, well, I'll show you my certificate from 1985 when I jumped did the biggest long jump in junior school or something. It means nothing.
No, I mean, here's the thing. As Carl Sagan said in that book that I brought up twice now, is that we don't have what was the word he used? Authorities, I think he said, or the best we have are experts, is what he says. We don't have people who know everything. It's like you could have a PhD, you could be a very learned man or a learned woman, and that doesn't mean that you get everything right. I mean, you could still blow it 6 ways to sunset. So your credentials, only matter to a certain degree. I mean, I've seen some very smart individuals go head to head in a debate, and I've seen some really like people with some serious doctorates and stuff say such dumb things. Like I don't know. I know it's a little controversial, I guess, still in this day, but the guy who what did he complete the human genome? Something like that. This guy is religious. He's a Catholic. He thinks God's real, and he completed the Human Genome Project. And I thought that was just a juxtaposition. It's like you're an educated person. You understand biology, but you still think God's real. I just thought that was weird because it takes a lot to get into that realm of biology, and it's like 15% of the smartest scientists in the world are religious. 15%. It's not 0%, it's 15. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You could be highly fucking educated, but you could still think goblins are real.
Yeah.
You know? So your so-called credentials don't mean much to me if you don't have your head screwed on straight.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like she thinks that yes, people can get things wrong if they've got like the qualifications, but she thinks that like she has gone out there and said that when she went and spoke to a medical examiner, Dr. Leon Kelly, and then she does this whole thing saying he said this, he said that, he said this. We all thought that doesn't sound right, so a few people messaged him. And he's like, that's not what I said to her. I said this, I said that, I said this. Then she comes out saying that those people from that other group, well, I don't know what they've done, but they've been hounding Dr. Kelly. They must have been hounding Dr. Kelly. And now he's changed his mind and he won't admit what he said. And then he commented underneath one of her videos saying something like, Miss Michelle, this is not what I said to you. You came at me trying to tell me what you thought happened, and I didn't agree. She deleted the comment. We've got the comment.
See, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. I don't know if you guys know, but I made a Gabby Petito video, and I'm not a very popular guy on YouTube, but that video got 1.5 million views. That's a crap load of people listening to you talk and watching you do things, on your computer. But there were a lot of people, the majority of people were really impressed with how I was able to manipulate the video. They'd never seen anybody really zoom in like that before. It kind of blew a lot of people's minds. But to me, that's like the most basic crap on a computer, to me. But all these people were sitting here saying that, wow, you're better than the FBI. And they weren't even being facetious. They were being sincere. I've heard that comment several times on that video, like, geez, you should work for the FBI, man. You're really good at analyzing evidence, man. And I'm like, I'm just some turd, man. What the hell? I got to be a little self-effacing here. I mean, I understand. I know a lot of stuff, but I'm not a genius or anything. I'm not even really a creative person at all. Like I used to be pretty credulous when I was younger. I used to think that Ouija boards worked. I actually thought that when I thought I could contact my dead dad as I'm trying to use a Ouija board. What an idiot. It's like, I used to be.
I did the same.
Well, I mean, I used to be really credulous. I used to believe in all this fantasy stuff. But like I said, I started educating myself. I wanted to know the truth. And I didn't care if it made me upset or if I disagreed. I wanted to know how the universe really am. I try not to take life too seriously. Like I said, I don't get too nuts about stuff like this. Although, like I said, I'm kind of conflicted because I value mental health so much. I value people living in reality, but I also can't control them. The best thing I can do personally, and I've done it many times, is pull them aside one-on-one, not recorded, no audience or anything. Humans, they're willing to change your mind in light of new evidence, but they just don't like being wrong. It's a really hard thing. It's a hard pill for humans to swallow, to admit that they wasted the last 10 years of their life on bogus bullcrap. Yeah. It's such a slap to your ego, So once you're like really entrenched in it and you're buckled down, it's like it's hard to dislodge you from your beliefs and your thoughts at that point.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest that you try Catherine because she is more I don't know, I think you'd stand more chance with her. She will kind of she won't agree with you, but she will probably have a discussion.
Yeah. Do you guys have any idea? I've had people ask me that before, but I don't know why like that Greg guy wants to know my name. Did he ask you guys the same thing?
Well, I am me.
Yeah, so. Me too. Well, so.
No, you guys are willing to put your real names, I guess, online. I'm not really, just because I'm from the early internet, and that's kind of like discouraged from way back then. So I'm still kind of that belief. I don't need to know somebody's name. A lot of people are scared to talk to me because they think I want to find out where they live and get their IP address and hack their computer. And I'm like, I don't care anything about you, dude. Like, even if you say the earth is flat and evolution is false and that vaccines don't work, I don't want to DDoS you or hack you or silence you. Like, you have the right to say those stupid things. I just want to talk to you and get an understanding of where you're coming from. And it's like pulling teeth. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't like scrutiny. They don't like to be have their feet held to the fire, so to speak. They don't like. I do. I guess I'm a nutcase because I like conflict. And speaking of the UK, have you ever heard of Christopher Hitchens? He was British.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that guy. That guy went out looking for fights, and well, not physical fights, but verbal sparring. And that dude, they called it. His name was Christopher Hitchens. And when he went out and debated people, on YouTube they call it a hitch slap because he was going around and kicking ass up one side and down the next. And that's a beautiful thing. You see people try to lie to his face, and he knows better. He just rips them a new one right then and there. And I love that stuff. You're not going to get away.
You do a video with freaking William Rail.
I never heard of that person.
Oh my God, he's in with this group of people and does videos about it, and he's on Twitch. And that would be a great conversation because he just thinks his shit doesn't stink. He's like, oh God, how do I explain it? Like,
they all have this quality that they all think they're right. Their opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
And anyone who has a different opinion, they'll try and like sort of laugh it off, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Timeline of events that William Rill has put up that he doesn't have 100% of. That's the I
really think that these guys should really get some better VoIP applications that are easier to just jump and hop in and voice chat real quick. Zoom, I mean, it's okay, it works, but it is a little convoluted, honestly. It doesn't need to be this convoluted. You know what I mean? I think that Discord is actually easier to use than this. Discord, you could just drag and drop a file, drag and drop a picture. It just pops up right away. You can, paste a link or hit the call button. There's no time limit or anything like. You could talk to somebody for 10 hours straight if you want. There's nobody bugging you for things. So there's so many options out there that a lot of these. We'll
have to have a look into them.
What's that?
These are the sites, platforms.
Wait, somebody's drawing loop-de-loops.
I don't know.
What?
It's me. It was me. Sorry.
Oh.
No, I was just showing like the different things that you can do on here. I mean, there's like you can share links, you can share your screen, you can share your phone screen, you can share notepads. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do on here. I like Zoom. I mean, it's not.
Do you pay for it?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
And we've been on here way over 40 minutes. So
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if they ever push the self-destruct button where it does try to cancel you, there's so many options out there. You can talk to me about that if you want. But yeah, like Chris, I want to know if you wanted to change any of the programs you use. You were talking about PDFs the other day, I think, and I'm looking at you were using the Edge browser, which I'm kind of like wary about. I'm wondering, do you use an ad blocker? Do you want to block ads?
None of that stuff really bothers me because I'm really not on my computer that much other than when I do my VR gaming stuff and this.
Right.
I mean, that's it. So.
Oh, okay. It's like there's a lot of links out there. And if you don't know better, you can accidentally click them and you can, I saw you have Norton. I'm not a big fan of Norton, never really have been, but there's still a lot of shady links out there when you don't have an ad blocker installed, right. A lot of you want to talk about being misled. I mean, the internet without an ad blocker is like constant, permanent, nonstop misleading. Click here, click over here, and here. Yes. $4.99. It's like everybody's got their hand out and begging for your attention and your browser. But yeah, like if you're not interested in that stuff, that's fine. But like when you've been online so long, you've been using computers every day of your life, you start to get some standards and like, you can't tolerate inferior versions of things.
No, I've been on since AOL dial-up, but I really don't get into that much, internet stuff. I mean, YouTube, this and
so let me ask you this. Have you ever, okay, so here's a question I had for you, Chrissy, too, before I forget. Have you seen videos of these guys and other people where they deleted them and you couldn't get it back?
What do you mean? Like,
well, I've seen you try to catch them on some of the things that they've said, and I don't know if you were able to, because you were talking about things that you've saved, like screenshots before the comment was deleted. So you do take screenshots of things or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, we posted the screenshots within the group, like things that we found and stuff like that. Yeah, they should all be on there.
Have these guys ever like deleted a video that was really I don't know, I guess harmful to their reputation, or they, because I've seen that lots of times on lots of channels. Well, people will delete their videos, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can't.
Greg had his he had another channel, and Dan Hennon, he is the admin of that group, but he's really quiet at the moment. I don't know what he's doing. He's in Minnesota, and he started that group up. But both of them lost their YouTube channels. So Greg started to sort of re-upload his onto his Grey Stage channel. Catherine, it says that she's got, say for example, 125, but you could only see 118 of them. She's made some private because she can't admit she's wrong, but then I think she just quietly makes them private.
Yeah. There's some really great tools out there. I don't know if you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, but if there's ever a reason you want to download someone's entire channel, every video, there's literally one program you can get, and you type in one command line, and your computer's downloading them all in a row. And you can go do stuff, you can go to sleep, you come back, and you have every video that they have on YouTube. Or you could even set it up where it not only it downloads the video, but it converts them to an MP3 file instead. So if there's a channel out there with tons of music that you like, you could just push one button and it's downloading the whole thing and automatically converting them. And there's so, so these are the kind of things I do if I'm really studying something, or,
That sounds interesting. I would wonder what them other several videos of Catherine's are. Actually, it kind of scares me because
yeah, and I also use little services that will take a snapshot of somebody's channel, like that Greg guy.
Yeah.
Like it'll take like an archive or like that Wayback Machine, and so I do that kind of stuff too, just in case one day they change it or they delete it. I'll have a backup copy of it, and it doesn't have to be on my hard drive.
Yeah, no, I know that we've got a couple of other members who like do that sort of thing with the Wayback and the archive thing.
Right. Yeah.
We've had to kind of, I mean, it's kind of horrible, really. I mean, they have done that many things. You have to kind of box clever. I never knew I'd have to be so sort of conniving at times, because I don't like to think like the worst of people. But then you see over 7 years, you see the things and the stunts that these lot pull, and you think, right, not going to fall for that one again.
Yeah. I mean, at some point you have to consider them a lost cause, don't you? It's like you've tried everything, and it's just like it's like talking to a brick wall. And it's sort of like that movie Dumb and Dumber when he plugs his ears and goes, la, 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 can't hear you.
Yeah.
It's like really immature and just childish.
Okay.
I've done that.
We try not to engage too much with them as such, but it's trying to reach the people who are on the fence.
Yeah. Sometimes I get, I don't know, I want to say desperate, but I will sometimes stoop to their level and use pejoratives, and I will be vituperative, and I will be contentious, and I will fire back, and I will verbally destroy them if I have to. Do I have to?
You'll have to.
Yeah.
No, I've done it several times.
I found myself having to make videos that are like, it's not like normally in my nature. I think people are entitled to a private life and things, but then when you see how much they've dug into other people's lives and stuff, you go, right, You think it's good enough to dish out to loads of people? You're having a bit of a taste of your own medicine.
Did you guys ever see that video of the woman on the, I think it was a pier or a dock of some type. I think her name was Alyssa Parker. She was a news anchor, a female. A guy went up to her and just shot her as she was live on the news. And she started running. Shortly after that happened, I saw some loser on YouTube saying it was fake and the microphone sounds weird here versus the microphone she was holding as she was running. Like, that guy pissed me off so much. I made a personal video for that guy and I was zooming on the video. I was inflecting. I was like, yeah, you dumb kid. You hear that? Yeah, you're dumb. Like, I was pissed. Zooming in and I was, showing him how objectively wrong he was. And, it destroyed him.
Project now with this lot.
It destroyed him so much that he reported the video and YouTube deleted it. Because I was unloading on that guy, man. I like, this woman was killed, man. Mm-hmm. Stupid asshole. And it's like totally disrespectful, man. And like, it's fine. I don't mind being disrespectful and everything, but I mean, that poor Judy lady, she had to see that crap, and I still, I empathize with her.
She has gone through so much over the, she's had like basically sort of 5,000 people attacking her, calling her family. They even made a video accusing her son of murdering the Crowleys, and then them all benefiting from, because Judy's got like a building supply company. Mm-hmm. And her son does something with renovations for like FEMA when there's been like disasters and stuff. And then they sort of strung this thing together saying that he had benefited from the Crowleys' death.
Oh my God.
And renovating
I would be so indignant if I were her. I would be so goddamn indignant if I were her. I saw, she's got her channel, right? That's her granny, whatever. I thought that she'd be talking in the videos, and I couldn't find a video where she's actually articulating anything. Am I right about that? It's like text?
Most of it's text. She's starting to come on some things now, but okay. I mean, it's.
I'm not a fan of text, really.
No.
I think she's very articulate. She's very clear when she talks, and I think her narration, I think, would be a lot better than the text that she writes. You know what I mean? And I think it would be a lot more impactful to me if I were her. And I know she doesn't have to do this, but if I were her, I'd be making a video. I say, hey, assholes! What? I shouldn't have called the cops that day. You dumb kid! I should have just sat there and let them rot further. I'd be acting really indignant and make them, look inwards on themselves and think about what the hell they're doing.
She's like, she has sort of said things and she does challenge them. But I think it just
such a weird,
just feels like she's banging her head against a brick wall because they won't listen. Or
somebody's got to call the cops.
Or they just ridicule her.
They're so dumb. Oh my God, they're dumb. Like, somebody on the planet has to call the police on. Are they discouraging calling the cops or what? I mean, what? There's going to be a 911 call for the people who discover the bodies.
Well, they have done all these videos sort of saying about how well, when I listen to 911, because I've never heard of, and they sort of, she said, should I have rang you, Greg, beforehand to tell me how to make a 911? Even no, I don't think she's come across anything like this, and neither have we.
For the little bit that I heard with that Greg, like, I can stand listening to her, but I can't stand listening to that Greg dude. The way he's just, she said, and I listened to her. She said, my husband thought it was a mannequin because what he had seen, he didn't want to believe it because it was so horrific. Yeah. And there was a little bit of a pause, and then he goes, "Okay, well, that's not the response, asshole." That is not the appropriate response for what she just said, man. Can't you understand? Can't you put yourself in her shoes and just imagine how traumatic that would be if you come across somebody you knew basically, decomposing in front of your eyes? It's like, have some fucking compassion, you smoldering butt log.
Exactly. They've done the same. They had a friend of Kamel and Sidra's, and he spoke to her, and it wasn't sort of too bad for some parts, but then when it comes to, it's like, well, what makes you think that David's guilty? And she's like, well, I've seen all of the evidence. I've seen all of the journals. I've seen all of the videos, and I've seen things. It's not my place to sort of disclose that. That's up to the family. And
is this a military thing that they're defending him so much? Do you know why?
No, it's the conspiracy of the movie, and they're wanting to believe that he was this good guy trying to open this conspiracy up and wake all these people up. That's their thing.
Did they say about what exactly? I guess I didn't really.
Well, the movie that David was making, the Gray State, and like
that was like an elite group of troops or something, right, or something like that.
Well, no, it was basically conspiracy of the New World Order taking over the country. Yeah.
God, that's been boring for freaking decades.
Yeah. He hasn't come out with any like great secret. They think that he was murdered because he was like telling people secrets. Then they think that maybe he was onto some kind of secret military information and they killed him for that. That's
why I like that book. That book talks about the lost city of Atlantis, and it talks about even Roswell, Area 51 and all this. That stuff is juicy to those types of people. But when you actually read it and understand how it actually went down and what it actually was, it makes everything a lot, less interesting. It's just like, wow, some guys, whatever. That when you understand the laws of physics and you violate them to be able to fit with whatever conspiracy you're making up, you've lost credibility.
Yeah. Oh, have you ever seen the documentary that was done about David that was called A Grey State?
Is that the one where there was interviews with the guy or some of the people?
With some of the people, Greg was on it, and Greg, he says credibility means nothing to me. I don't give a crap about credibility. And it's like, no, you don't. You haven't got any credibility.
Yeah, go ahead and tell everybody publicly that your favorite artist is Justin Bieber, and tell me your credibility isn't gone.
Exactly. It's like,
come on, man. What an idiot.
Your credibility is that you're speaking the truth, and but you don't give a crap about credibility because you don't give a crap about the truth.
And that's the thing that kind of amazed me is that, humans, I don't really look at humans as being the smartest ever, because there's a lot of stupidity in the world, but they're not so dumb that they can't get things. Like I said, that video I made going through the Gabby Petito dash cam, they understood that it was significant, and they understood that I'm the guy that analyzed the video. It's not a conspiracy or anything. I went through, I made it very clear. They understood it. It made sense to them. They could actually see what they couldn't normally see because I helped them by zooming in very closely and articulated what they're looking at. And they got it. It made sense to them. They passed it around to their friends and they're like, okay, I can see what everybody was talking about now, thanks to you. It's like you drop that information on it where there's no question about my character or my credibility at that point. Like everybody understands that I made that video out of passion and a genuine want or need to educate the public because I was sick of the misinformation and I wanted to clear the air up. And I feel that I did with that many freaking views. I mean, the upvote versus downvote ratio is insane. It's like 99% upvoted, which is probably the most upvoted video I have because I'm kind of a controversial guy in some way. Like I don't really have limits on my sense of humor. So I play a lot of, I guess, dark satirical comedy on my YouTube channel. And some people think that's really bad. And I don't care. I have a big sense of humor and I like to laugh at a lot of things. So, even though I have that, I also have a side of my channel where I'm genuinely interested in education and living in reality and mental health and things like that. So some people go to my channel and they just can't make heads or tails of what the hell I am.
I said that earlier because I was trying to remember who you were, and I went to the channel. I'm like, what the fuck is all over his channel?
Yeah, I know. And see, that's what I like about my channel. I do what I want because I don't make videos for money. I make things that I want to make, Yeah. And that's the great thing. And most people who try to make videos for money is that they got to kind of stick to a certain audience and a subject. And I don't want to be relegated to one subject or whatever, In fact, I'm trying to get my subscribers down because all they want is conspiracies. Like that video generated a lot of conspiracy subscribers on my channel. And I had to go, reply to their comments and explain to them, no, there isn't a guy hiding under the van, weirdo. You can't see better than my 38-inch, $2,000 monitor on your little cell phone. I'm sorry. With all due respect, however great your cell phone is, you cannot see better than me. and I never hear back from them again. You know,
Right.
I'm not saying I got the best crap ever, but comparing a cell phone to be able to see things versus they're saying that I miss things. And some people say I missed things in the video, and I obviously didn't. I only talked about the things that were really there, and I didn't make up conspiracies in my video.
Yeah.
And I would never do that.
No. I mean, that's the thing sort of like with us, is like there's no need to sort of make anything up. You know, the facts are the facts.
I think reality is interesting enough.
Like them or not. Yeah. You know, it's just it's tragic that whatever was going on in their mindsets, that this was what they chose to sort of do. You know, that it's tragic for their little girl, because she was the one that was completely innocent, and that she was dealt the ultimate blow from people who should have loved her and looked after her.
Yeah, you guys probably know this already, but part of the reason these guys are so disparaging of investigators and officers and, you know, crime scene analysts and things like that is because they don't actually know any. They don't talk to them. They don't actually study that subject. And I bet none of them own a single book on that subject, really, like a credible book on it. Like all the books he was showing was Bermuda triangles and, you know, crop circles and shit like this. It's like, hey, dude. Yeah.
Well, they paid $7,000 to have a private investigator. Ken Maines, he's reputable. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's been on, like, sort of, you know, he has got a good background in a variety of things, and he's not your typical kind of what you would think of a stereotypical kind of investigator. And Dan paid for him to review all of the paperwork of the case. So he did. He agreed with the initial, with the police findings, and they went all out to try and discredit him.
What? That was just, why can't they just accept that? What the hell? They want to believe something. Yeah. They want to believe something. They don't want the truth. They want to believe something. God, what a bunch of boring, talk about intellectual dishonesty. You know, it's like,
and that's what's infuriating, because we know, like, you know, we know that they are blatantly bullshitting people. And it's people who sort of do genuinely care. They don't want to put the time in to sort of look at things. They're taking them at face value, thinking, you know, well, Greg, he's a God-fearing Christian. He's a fucking liar. And he
you know, honestly,
behind religion.
I'm not saying that I'm successful all the time, but I have a pretty good success rate of what I call de-chimping. All right. So it's a weird word, but I call it de-chimping. That's where I take a person like these guys that are acting all ape-like and stupid, where I take them aside. Like I said, I talk to them one-on-one, and I calm them down, and I slap some sense into them. I coined a word for that, de-chimping. So it doesn't, like, I have a pretty successful, like a high success rate of doing that to all sorts of different people, but I don't try to toot my own horn. So like, it's hard to convince people that that's actually happened. Some people don't believe me. So I started for a while to take screenshots of people's, I guess, conversion, going from, oh no, Nirvgorilla, you know, you're an idiot and you don't know anything, to holy crap, you just changed my life. You know, I literally have screenshots showing this conversion in a matter of like an hour of conversation with some of these guys.
If you can convert them, then you deserve a medal. Yeah. And it's, I know you said you don't record things, but I bloody well wish you would, even just so that we could listen to it privately, just if you took, you know, because
it's possible. Christine, you heard that I was talking to that one guy about, you know, streamers being able to hear him. I don't think I spent a lot of time with him. I didn't record all of it. I was recording a little bit because I was streaming.
Right.
But I talked to him for like 3 hours after that. And seriously, by the end, he might not have been totally converted, but he was still in awe, knowing what I showed him. He had no idea, because he was kind of a conspiracy guy, thinking that maybe Chinese people are hacking him. I gave him some programs that shows him exactly all the traffic that goes to and from his computer. It blew his mind. He never knew it existed. So by the end of it, he was fucking stunned. So he knew that I knew what I was talking about, and that what his delusions were bullcrap. Yeah. You know? So part of that that credibility that he gave me is when I showed him that you can actually see and analyze all the traffic to and from your computer. And you can show with data, which data convinces a lot of these guys, that you can see with your own eyes that there is no Chinese attacker hacking your computer. You know, and that's what I mean. I use any tool on my belt that I have to. Sometimes it takes just straight facts and evidence. Sometimes that's not enough, as you guys know. Facts and evidence does not always change mind. I wish it was. I wish you could say, here's the evidence, and they go, oh, wow, I guess I was wrong. That doesn't happen like that. Sometimes I got to use a different tool on my belt, whether it's being insulting, calling them a panda fucker, you know, using comedy.
You're probably going to have to use every tool under your belt.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. People.
Comedy. Yes. And that's the way it is. That's the reality of the human brain. It's sort of like a puzzle almost, where you have to unlock it at the, you know, using the right language. And I've never been able to do it in text. I've never seen anybody be able to do that kind of stuff in text. It takes voice. Humans evolved with oral communication, not written. As much as I like my text for my books, where the author is speaking directly to me, reading a book, it's not the same for two-way conversations. No. Text really sucks for conversations. You can't really get anywhere with text these days, especially, you know.
Yeah.
So I hate, you can spend months and months arguing with somebody back and forth with your keyboard, and you will basically not budge an inch. You pull those guys aside and you do what I do to them one-on-one in voice. The guy comes out like a new man with a fresh haircut. You know, he's totally different than when he went in with, you know. And
my kids' lunch is here, so
yeah, okay, go ahead.
If you guys want to continue, I'm gonna go.
I got to go pick up some stuff myself. Yeah, but I'll be on, you know, later. I'm around. I'm on every day. So I'm, you know, if you find these guys, tell them that the light's green.
We're all blocked by them, so.
Oh God.
All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
See you later. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.